Hi everyone, it's Adam Cockburn here at Lowe Co Realty, and we're checking out the Wellington real estate data here for the month of December 2021 versus the same time 12 months ago and 24 months ago. Before we get into it, overall prices remain fairly stagnant with way more choice for buyers and fewer sales taking place. So it is definitely an interesting time in the market. Let's get into the detail, starting with the median sale price. So $1 million in December 2021 versus 805 or just a bit over in December 2020. That's up 24%. That is still a significant lift, but if you have a look at the chart there, you can see the price has been roughly level for the last 3 months in the high 900,000s, and we just touched on $1 million in December. But prior to that, for 8 months, it was roughly bouncing around the 850 to the 900,000 mark. So it was level for about 8 months, then it ticked up and been level for about the last 3 months. And just remember that the median sale price is subject to some variability due to the mix of properties being sold. So I don't really pay as much attention to this data. I prefer to look at the Real Estate Institute House Price Index, which really takes out the mix of properties being sold and is a better underlying a better indicator of actual true underlying value. So if we look at these numbers here, you can see that the Wellington market in the last month only just barely positive. Over the last 3 months, 1.9% and 18.5% over the last year. So that, of course, is the Wellington region. If you look at New Zealand overall, very interesting to see 1% fall in the overall price for New Zealand real estate in December. And if you dig further into the detail of Wellington, you see Porora City down 2.9% for the month, Lower Hutt down 2.6%, etc. So look, these numbers do bounce around a little bit because from month to month the sample size is a bit smaller. So if you're looking at the 1 month number, best to look at the Wellington region overall where the numbers are a bit bigger, but even better, look at the 3 month results. So as you can see, look, overall, yes, still considerably large increases in value over the last 12 months at 18.5% for Wellington, but only 1.9% over the last 3 months. And so again, if you look at the graph there for the Wellington House Price Index, over the last couple of months in particular, you can see the numbers are bouncing around zero for the monthly results and down at sort of 1.5 to between 1 and 2% for the last 3 months. So we certainly have seen a significant cooling off in prices, price growth in the Wellington region over the last couple of months in particular. And before that even, we were still seeing results, around the 3%, up to 4% sometimes for the 3 month HPI growth. So significantly down on what we were seeing sort of 12 months ago, 15 months ago, even 9 months ago. And so, yeah, overall prices certainly are growing much more slower, and in particular over the last few months have been fairly flat, in fact. Let's look now at the new listings, how much supply is coming to the market on a monthly basis. So obviously December is a pretty slow month for new listings, so the numbers are significantly lower than they are for other months typically, but comparing to the other Decembers is still relevant. So 349 in December 2021 versus 340 12 months prior, that's 3% more. And 256, that's a 36% jump on 2 years ago. So in December, we saw about the same number of listings as we saw 12 months prior, but compared to 2 years ago, a significant increase. So compared to 2 years ago, more supply coming to the market. Compared to 12 months ago, about the same amount. So interesting to see what the January numbers show when they come out. In terms of the number of sales taking place, this is where we get some really interesting stats here. So 582 in December 2021 versus 871 December 2020 and 745 December 2019. So we're down 33% compared to December 2020, and that is a big sign. So what does this mean? Is this because demand is lower? Is it because, well, certainly it's a proxy for demand. The lower sales volumes is not because we're seeing fewer listings. We saw before, we have seen about the same number of listings as we were seeing 12 months ago. So why the significant reduction in the number of sales? Is this because people are wanting property less? Perhaps, but also because perhaps the tougher lending rules are really starting to bite In particular, the tougher lending rules have really hit the first home buyers hard. Obviously, investors, they've got much tougher tax rules and so on, but that's been the case way back since March or April last year. So, but maybe they're just starting to wake up to what the actual impact of that is. But in any event, certainly this is not because of a drop-off in number of listings available. It must be, for whatever reason, a drop-off in demand, whether that's actual demand or whether it's forced drop in demand due to the tougher lending requirements or similar. But nonetheless, there's no question that is a big change, 33% down on 12 months ago and 22% down on 2 years ago. How long is it taking to sell property in Wellington? It's taking a bit longer. So 31 days versus 25 a year ago and 27 in December 2019. So up 24% versus 12 months ago and 15% versus 2 years ago. So you can see there that overall trend with the red line there, that's the 6-month moving average. From about early 2017, we were seeing that the properties were ever so slightly, that the duration to sell was ever so slightly increasing until we got to lockdown, where after lockdown it came right down as the demand for property went absolutely crazy, and since then it has been edging upwards again. So yeah, it's certainly taking longer to sell than 12 months ago and a bit longer to sell even than 2 years ago. So these are all fairly consistent signs here. All of these signs are really in favour of the buyers. So good news for buyers, a bit more choice happening out there, not as many sales taking place, not as competitive an environment for the buyers out there. Obviously that's not the best news for sellers. Inventory, this is how many weeks worth of supply have we got in the market. So December 2021, 9 weeks. Now it's been quite some time. We have to go back to the middle of 2020 when we were just coming into lockdown, before we saw inventory levels at this sort of level of 9 weeks or so. Compared to a year ago, December 2020, that was 4 weeks. That's the lowest I've ever seen since I've started tracking this data. So 125% up in December 2021 versus 2020, and 6 weeks in December 2019, so it's 50% greater than that again. So we certainly are seeing considerably more inventory on the market when measured as a function of the amount of properties being sold. So 9 weeks versus 4 a year ago and 6 2 years ago. Now, I have to say that 9 weeks is still relatively short on supply because the long-term average for Wellington is 15 weeks. So on that basis, we're still undersupplied, but the trend is very interesting. It is increasing and increasing at quite a sharp clip. So again, this is positive news for the buyers out there. Trade Me listings. How many gross listing volumes have we got on the market at the moment? And this is really a big change. So 1,979 listings on Trade Me for the Wellington region as of today, the 26th of January, versus almost exactly a year ago of 1,003 in Wellington region in January 2021 and 1,429 2 years ago, January 2020. So this is a big change, folks. That is 97%, almost doubling of the amount of supply on Trade Me versus the same time a year ago, and nearly 40% greater than even 2 years ago. So this is a sharp uptick, and you can see it very clearly in the graph there. You see that red line, it came right down as we came into the boom market in 2016. Then it hovered between sort of 1,500 and 2,000, depending on the seasonality. Right up to about lockdown, when we came out of lockdown, and it dived again right down to sort of 1,100-1,200, and then since late last year it has been increasing, and it is now increasing at a very sharp rate indeed. So this is amazingly fantastic good news for those of you who are buyers out there who are able to raise the finance. It means for those of you who are sellers, you are having to fight harder to get the attention of the buyers in the market. There is more choice out there, and potentially a fewer buyers, and so yeah, getting traffic through the open homes and getting offers on your property, you do have to fight a bit harder to get the attention of the buyers out there. So, folks, that's the summary of the market. Also thought it would be an opportune time to touch on how the market is operating, or how Lowe Co are operating now that we're in red, given the Omicron situation in New Zealand. So just to remind you all, Lowe Co is very much open for business. Pretty much most of the agents are working from home unless they absolutely cannot. Some open homes require vaccine passes and others don't, depending on the vendor's requirements. And if you're nervous about attending an open home, then ask the agent for a private inspection. That's the best way to go. So in summary, we're open for business. Open homes carrying on as normal. Check the marketing for the property you're interested in. It will state whether open homes require a vaccine pass or whether they do not. If you are nervous about attending an open home for your health reasons, then just request a private inspection. So in summary, folks, prices are roughly level over the last 3 months, and the real estate house price index shows price growth has been very, very muted, barely above zero over the last 3 months or so. Listing levels are up, new listing levels are versus 2020 about the same and up versus 2 years ago. Sales volumes down significantly versus 2020 and even down quite significantly versus 2019. Duration to sell is up versus both 2020 and 2019. It's taken longer to sell properties. Inventory is up significantly versus 2020, although still below average. And the big news really, website listings on Trade Me almost double versus a year ago, up 97%. So price is roughly level. Other indicators are pointing to the market continuing to slow, folks. So this is great news for buyers if you indeed are able to continue to raise finance. For those of you who are sellers out there, it is proving a little tougher to get the attention of the buyers. If you want an appraisal or more advice or so on, get in touch with me, Adam Cockburn at Lowe Co. Thanks for checking in. See you next month.